Reunion Association, what that is a collaborative effort that's striving to restore, promote, and revitalize the sense of community in our city's neighborhoods. And together we recognize the disparity that really so many of our world's people, most specifically those who are marginalized, those who are forgotten about. And thus it is together we join hands for a labor of change. And I went to Edison years ago, and God just gave me a vision to give something back to the people. And this is what I want to do, bring the community back, and for us all to love one another.
I'm Jerry Numbers, and I was a teacher at Edison School and had the privilege of working with lots of different kids there, which included the Frank kids, the Miller kids, the Dixon kids, and had some good memories. Taught there until about 1969, and then I left Edison and went into elementary school counseling. Did that for many years, and then ended up back at Grant School, taught phys ed until 1997, so did 16 years at Grant School. So I have a lot of connections of kids that have now grown up, and their kids are in the neighborhood. So I've got kids and grandkids and great-grandkids from the school system in Spokane, from Edison and Grant. And a function like today is really kind of nice to get back and reacquaint with some students that I haven't seen since they were probably 8 years old, 9 years old, like John Brank, and so it's been kind of nice privilege just to work in this community. It's a going community, and now I'm actually back working in the community. A small organization I'm involved with, the East Central Community Organization, has operating the East Central Community Center, so I'm a director at the community center, and we're starting new youth programs. We've had some good summer programs get started. We're looking forward to more programs and action in the neighborhood through the community center that now is being privately run rather than run by the city.
I'm Lynn, and I went to Edison and then on to Libby. What I remember really about Edison is I thought it was a beautiful building. It had a lot of old woodwork in it, and the stairways were beautiful. It had, I believe it was like marble, the stairways up. It was just a gorgeous building. The teachers were very nice and very patient with everybody there. I remember almost all of my teachers. I had Miss Cook, Miss Riggers, Miss Foster, Mr. Numbers, Mr. Stannard. They were wonderful teachers. And then I went out to Libby. Libby, we have a combination of the other schools joining us, so I just enjoyed it. The teachers at Edison I thought were wonderful though, so I really appreciated everything that they did for us.
Hi, I'm Russell Shaver.
Hi, Bob.
Okay.
And we went to Edison Elementary back in the late 60s, early 70s. I had Mrs. Wright, Mrs. Foster for 5th grade, Mr. Bright for 6th grade. 2 years behind me.
Yeah, I was the last 6th grade there. I can remember we wrote our names on the chalkboard when they told us everybody went to the chalkboard and wrote their names on there. Yeah.
And that was the way to leave.
That was how we left Edison, right?
Who was the principal at Edison when you guys were there?
That was Mr. Sitton.
Mr. Sitton.
Big, tall guy with a flat top haircut. And he was a very gentleman guy, but when it came to it, he could swing the old paddle just as good as anybody.
My name is Levin, and I went to Edison Elementary during the late 60s and was the last class to go to Edison. Going there as the school was moved to Grant for 6th grade year in 72. One of my fondest memories of being in Edison were my 1st grade teacher, Mrs. Cook. Other memorable teachers were Mrs. Small. We also remember Miss McKiska, Mrs. Wright, Mrs. Riggers, and then some of the odd things about Edison Elementary School was the fact that the school was so close to my house that I could often see the fences from our house. We lived only 3 doors down. Another weird thing about Edison was the fact that as you went into school and up the stairs, about mid-floor or so, there was actually a nurse's office. And in the nurse's office, there were actual beds where you could actually lay down when you were sick and actually stay in the nurse's office for a long period of time, which was kind of comical to think about. You stay in the day in the nurse's office, but some kids did.
My name is John, and I also went to Edison Elementary School. I was only there for kindergarten and first grade, so my kindergarten teacher, she was Mrs. Lemunyon, and I also had Mrs. Small for first grade. Had to go to second grade at Grant. I really didn't understand why we had to take a 20-minute bus ride when we had a local school that was right across the street from our house. But I learned later that the school levy failed in '72, and that caused the closing of Edison Elementary School. So that was I learned later that some of my teachers at Grant, Mrs. Riggers, Miss Wright, and Miss McKiska, she was known as Miss Castle at Edison. They were also at Grant Elementary School, and so out of all my elementary years, four of my teachers were actually teachers from Edison Elementary School, which was kind of a cool thing.
Hey everybody, my name is Fred Britton. I grew up here in Spokane. I attended Libby Junior High. I played basketball there. My favorite teacher and coach was Coach Pilkington.
Hi, my name is Susan, and I attended Libby Junior High School. What I remember about Libby, I remember my social studies teacher, Mr. Axton, and American history. And it was just so fascinating and interesting to learn all the things at first that happened in American history. Enjoyed being in the band. I got to wear a uniform for the first time, and that was fun. I also got to participate in jazz band, and I remember we learned one song that I had a piano solo on, and I probably still play it now because I practiced and practiced and practiced so that I would not let the team down when we did it in concert.
That's one thing that I remember. And then the other thing is that at Libby Junior High, right in the entranceway, there was a crest of a lancer. And a lancer is just another term for a knight, like a medieval knight. And for kids that were really acting up, one of the things that they had the kids do if they were misbehaving is they had to go in on either early in the morning or late in the afternoon, and they have to clean that crest with a toothbrush.